We're over here pressing our fucking jeans every day, and it may be the only one pair of jeans we got. I've come to believe a lot of people's appearances reflect their search for opposites. That's why Bon Jovi will try to look bummy, and why I'm not trying to look bummy. I used to have to look like a bum, because that's all I had. The funny thing about the ghetto is when you're living there, you don't even know you're there. You don't have anything to compare it to. Everything you see on TV, you think that's not real. If you're not traveling out of an area, your scope is so limited. I grew up in a New Jersey ghetto. When I first moved to Los Angeles, I lived in Windsor Hills. Windsor Hills may be a nice black neighborhood, but I thought it was Beverly Hills. I didn't know as far as the rest of LA was concerned, Windsor Hills is still considered the ghetto. The first time I took some of my boys from the 40s into Beverly Hills and Bel Air, we drove past some of the homes. They asked me some ill questions. Is that an apartment building? How many people live in there? How many houses is that really? They couldn't believe it could possibly be one house. I'll never forget the illest comment. It came from my buddy's brother, Bebop Bill. Looking up at one mansion, he said, "Imagine what they eat." He was thinking about food. He said dreamily, they can probably eat whatever they want to. He's really saying, I don't eat what I want to eat. I eat what I can eat. When you grow up and live in South Central, just having a job and making ends meet is a luxury. We fail to realize that just the thought of eating what you want for dinner is a treat. Just to be able to say, yo, I like a steak tonight, and then go into the market, picking it up and eating it. That's a luxury. To have a roof over your head and eat what you want is an ultimate. It comes down to your taste buds, man. If you're working with $1.40 and that's all you got, you have to fabricate meals. It's not like you can eat what you want to eat. When you're poor or broke, you have from McDonald's and you think to yourself, damn, now if I don't get the cheese, if I get the small Coke, I can do this. I've been in situations where we've been in the crib and there's been no money between 4 people and everybody's bumming. Damn, we ain't got no milk. We got shit that don't add up, like Kool-Aid, no sugar, and oatmeal. Damn, you start making scientific food and cooking without grease. You ain't got the right ingredients. You're just thinking, what the fuck are we going to eat? If you go home and there ain't no food there because mom's is broke, in the ghetto your parents often won't have any money either, and they'll almost tell you, do what you got to do. Kids will end up hustling and stealing because they ain't got nothing there. And no matter what the reason for poverty or the situation that put people into poverty, the problem exists. People ain't got no money. When you're in that situation, your perception of what's right is so totally different than someone who grows up in a middle-class neighborhood. Ghetto kids grow up in this fucked up world and they think that's how it is and they can't do anything about it. Until you get up and out of it, people don't see that there are any alternatives. They don't know anything about the community I live in now. They're so far away from it. Now, all of my neighbors are currently preparing to die of old age. They got their life insurance all in order and their wills are written up. You go to my old neighborhood and just try to talk about retirement plans. The mentality is retirement. Man, I'm just worried about getting to the next year. I don't know what you're talking about. The greatest tragedy in the ghetto is watching people become accustomed to the prospect of a bleak future. If you try to talk to them about the positive future, you'll learn they don't really see the future. It's too dim. It's too untouchable. I try so hard to explain to kids who I meet that when you actually venture outside of your hood, there's nothing out there that's not yours. I don't want them to believe that their neighborhood is all they got. Why can't you go surfing? Who says surfing is just for white kids? It's your wave too. That's your snow mountain up there in Big Bear. Let's go skiing. Let's go horseback riding. Let's go jet skiing. Everything is everybody's. But you see, each time you go to one of those places I mentioned, you're going to have some eyes rolled at you. What are they doing here? Why are they trying to play golf? Why aren't they where they're supposed to be? A lot of kids just find it less frustrating to just stay where they are. The ghetto may be a hard and very strange place, but no one's judging you for being there. At the core of it, there's a lot of family love in the ghetto you don't feel in other places. In South Central, however, there's a lot of bitterness and a lot of misguided people, and it all stems from ignorance. The school system there does nothing to help. The curriculum is offered in the ghetto schools only reinforces the high dropout rate among these kids. You're given books to read, to learn from about shit that seems so far-fetched from what you are, from what you know, and how you live. If you came home at the end of each school day and your father was a chemist or a doctor, algebra might begin to make sense to you then. It might make sense that you need to know algebraic equations. But when you don't know nothing like that and you don't know anything about your own history, you just feel you're nothing. You lose total hope. I believe that's the worst thing that can happen to you in the ghetto, the loss of all hope. The ghetto is the compiled interest of lost hope. You feel stuck there and there's no way you can see out. The only people you see making it are the kids hustling, and it's a paradox that draws you deeper through jail and through lots of trouble. I see the frustrations of this mindset so clearly. I'm basically a product of it. My whole mission is not only to talk to kids about their anxieties, but I want to set an example by continuing to excel and by continuing to climb up. I want to be more and more of a success. People say, Ice-T, you shouldn't rap about this or that. I don't give a fuck about what people say. The biggest role model I have is just the fact that I'm achieving. Fuck what I'm rapping about. Fuck Cop Killer. Fuck the way I dress. I want people to say this brother was down here with us and now he's making something and he's attempting to tell us how to do it. I've had so many people from the hood step to me and say, yo, when I see you do a movie, it makes me think I can do it. When I see you write a book, it means I could be writing a book. That's why I'm reaching in so many directions. I didn't want to become somebody who could just do one thing. Oh, this dude used to be in a gang and now he makes rap records. You know, that's all they can do is rap. Nah, I haven't worked this hard just to be pigeonholed. That's why I own my own label now. I'm trying to show these kids that you can do it all. That's the type of role model they need to see. Someone who tells them, sure, you can hit everything. It's very important the person saying this shows them you don't need to leave your black roots behind either. Regardless of what you do, you can still be a homeboy. That's why I still look like them and run this company. Russell Simmons doesn't need to put on a suit and tie to run Def Jam. He's another brother who's there setting examples for these kids. In the future, the dominant culture will rule in America. People from the ghetto are the dominant culture. That's why you're seeing a lot of shit change. You're seeing very hip white people. You're seeing street kids just getting stronger, more militant and radical on all fronts. They ain't teaching you any of this in school. It's coming out of the hood. People are comparing notes, which is important. If you're somebody who grew up in the suburb and went to college, but you have no idea of how to punch or defend yourself, you're going to need to learn. And the same token, the kids from the ghetto are going to need to learn how to be less aggressive and how to solve more of their problems with their brains. I want these kids to know the skills they learn on the streets are as valuable as the skills you learn off the streets. The person who can merge both of them together the quickest will be the achiever. Kids from the ghettos need to step back and realize, okay, I've been to one college, now I'm going to search for the other side. With that mindset, you can conquer any goal you want. I've learned that most everything you do in this business can be traced back to something you learned on the street, so value it. Once you establish that desire in a ghetto kid to go out and learn the advantages that college kids have, society has got to step in and allow them that chance. The outside has to allow and welcome them in. We've got to give them an opportunity too. If you want to do this from loans, give them loans. If you don't think they're smart enough to handle the money, give them school vouchers. But don't let a good education just be another luxury of the rich. If you're always going to have a group of poor people over here on one side, you're always going to have a problem. Because you've basically got a powder keg of people who are going to lash out any minute at who they think are the rich or who are taking advantage of them. So it's entirely up to you. You can either pay them now or pay later. In order to break down the gates of the ghetto, we cannot allow the ghetto to confine us, mentally or physically. I'm thrilled to be able to move out into the hills away from the jungle because every day my next door neighbor steps out of his house and gripes. Niggers on the left of me, Jews on the right of me. Man, this is like Christmas to me. I'm very happy to be annoying my neighbor. Do you understand? His attitude is, let me pay you to go back home. Go back to the place you came from. Go back to Africa. And I tell him, no, because I'm from Earth, motherfucker. And if I want to live anywhere, I'll live there. There is no place for me. I'm as American as he is. If people are going to try to make me feel out of place in any other environment than the ghetto, fuck that. I love to be able to buy my buddies' houses up here. I love to be able to buy 10 houses up here and turn this into my community. Who says it's theirs? Who the fuck are they? I think the ghetto attitude can change, but people have to want to get out and realize there are no real walls around them keeping them in. You can grow up in Harlem, but there's nothing wrong with moving to Central Park West. I want to explain to people that when they do get over the wall, come back and pick up your friends. Give them a chance to make a better life for themselves, too. Invest your money there by helping your own people, by giving them that opportunity to branch out. I got about 30 homies on my payroll, and I do everything I can to keep them on the streets and out of prison system and away from violence. You can help each other get a leg up.